play of the game from way down.
True, silence. Rainer getting absolutely
A team wipe.
The living bomb's going.
Oh my goodness, the ring. Bob Stasnico gonna find Rainer.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. Tonight we're gonna do a replay cast in advance of that was supposed to be turned off. Let's turn that off. The Regen Phoenix versus Party Time matchup here tonight, coming up at 9 o'clock I believe at twitch.tv/Ektar. But before then, we're gonna do this replay cast. Another Division B East matchup between Saltscale Mrgles and Tiny Dancers. Of course, Regen Phoenix had the opportunity to play against both of these teams. We defeated Saltscale Mrgles 2-0. We defeated Tiny Dancers 2-1. Both of these teams they have some really quality players. They make some fantastic matchups. A lot of variety here. So gonna be excited to see how this matchup goes. But before we get into the game, let's take a look at our map bans and our standings. All right, so we started off with the bans from Saltscale Mrgles onto the Dragonshire and Towers of Doom. Meanwhile, Tiny Dancers banning out Tomb of the Spider Queen and Brax's Holdout. Our first selection is going to be Volskaya Foundry. It was the selection of Tiny Dancers. And as mentioned, let's take a quick peek at these standings. So number 4 and number 5, these teams were tied for points, but in the regular season, Saltscale did defeat Tiny Dancers, so they got the tiebreaker there. But you can see, very close, even between number 1 and number 6, only 6 points there between separating those teams. And if you get in between number 2 and number 5, that's literally one single match. So a very close division between these teams here. Now, the bracket. So we did have Bread Rising with the big upset over Phoenix Rising Ruby 2-0 there. So the number 8 team will be facing off against whichever team wins here, whether that's Saltscale or Tiny Dancers. Regen Phoenix also took a 2 over Jailbait, so they moved on. And this past Monday, we saw that Party Time defeated Demonic Entity Within 2-0 as well. So they will face off against Regen Phoenix, the number 2 Regen Phoenix with the number 3 Party Time. And we'll see who can continue on here from the Saltscale Mrgles and Tiny Dancers teams. But we're all set up, everything's ready to go, so let's go ahead and get right into our game. Alrighty here, so the overlay's a little bit odd because this is an older version of the patch. There was a patch here just earlier this week, so it's going to be a little bit different than you might normally be used to, so apologize for that. And if the sound seems a little weird, let me know. If it's too high, too low, I can certainly make some adjustments, but I have to do that on the fly because the system just doesn't recognize your original settings. So let's get our teams introduced. On the left here, we have Saltscale Mrgles. It's going to be Alankia playing Whitemane, Dangstrom on the ETC, Eason G on the Alarak rather, Synchrony on the Hanzo, Chen going to be played by Idioms. And then here for Tiny Dancers, we're going to have Liddell on the Anduin, Materium playing the Li Ming, Feldroth on the Vala, Elijah on Blaze, and Silver on the Anubarak. So popping up stats doesn't quite work as well with the base UI, so you're going to see the talents up here at the top of your screen, probably pretty small. So we'll show all the talents at the end to make sure that everybody gets a good look at the talents that were taken here. For the most part, looks like, you know, talents that you would typically expect to see out of these heroes. We've got the prog rock here for ETC, the globe quest. Although Idiom's there getting quite a bit of work done onto the blaze. Power hungry for Li Ming. Oh my goodness. Mute for a second. Alright, hopefully they've completed their chorus. Well, the camps are both available here. We're at 120 now. That you won't be able to see the timer because if I move this stuff, it'll move the names too low. So it's either you don't get to see the timer or you just have these big giant blocks in the middle. So both teams now are on their fortification camps. So they got there a little bit later than that 1 minute mark. So they won't come up immediately when the control point triggers. But we'll see them soon. A little bit of a peek in on the support camp as the top lane is slightly pushed in favor of Tiny Dancers, giving them a little bit of an advantage in the macro here, which they're going to use to get set up for the siege camp. Now, I'll be interested to see which team, if either, goes for the support camp here. Now, to check on, just so that you're aware, just to pop this up, this is what our base UI format looks like for questing talents. So we will pop those up just from time to time to look at where those talents are, what the status is, but not too often. Getting the siege camp, though, is allowing Tiny Dancers to make their way onto the support camp pretty much uncontested. Burrow charge coming in from the Anub'arak there, possibly looking for Alarak, but not quite able to sneak that in. And with the siege camp being a little bit early on the side of earlier rather on the side of Tiny Dancers, Saltscale Mrgles are able to clean that up. Oh no! Oh, the rotation down onto Chen. You know what? Good call from Tiny Dancers to get that rotation and find that kill, because everybody from Saltscale Mrgles was doing what I was just about to say, which is that they were able to clear that camp and then provide some pressure up in the top lane here. They got it. Good awareness from Tiny Dancers here. Let's zoom out so we can watch the lane. Vala cleaning up top. Probably is going to have to come down here soon to help the team to hold on to this control point. And there she is. We do see Chen diving in after the Blaze. Blaze a little bit slow to here and having to walk out. Anub'arak burrow charging in, drops the support camp here. Idiom's using that stagger, is getting very low, but so is Eason G, and that's going to be a kill onto the Alarak, resetting his sadism. And Tiny Dancers taking over control of the point once again, already at 55%. And did we see the turret coming in? They must have used their turret. I just didn't see it. Must have blown up pretty quickly. Hello, Recyclic. Also, Jake Bot. Good to see you. Happy to see you following. Hope you enjoy the cast tonight. But those fortification camps that I mentioned earlier are back up and available. So Tiny Dance is going to go pick up theirs. Nubrak in a little bit of danger here, but with overtime being procced 99% in favor of Tiny Dancers, they're going to have their turret available now and are coming right back onto the point. Li Ming is very low, though. Looks like she's going to go back and hit that healing well. She is full orb build, so as long as she can stay far enough back, she should be okay. But not so far back that she can't hit those orbs. Big power slide from ETC, going to be able to lock down the Anub'arak, and Anub'arak's going to fall. Hanzo securing that kill. Both teams are at level 7, and we should be able to see Anub'arak coming back in time here. Some big combos coming out from Alarak onto the team as well, so getting some really quality silence activity there. Just quick peek at the build here for Alarak. So we do have Ruthless Momentum, Show of Force, and Dissonance there, that additional silence. So I think at least 2 out of 3 of those are kind of the more like standardized, if you play Alarak a lot and are really comfortable on him, then do this. So Hanzo's up in the top lane, Chen's in the bottom. Tiny Dancer's coming in saying, hey, this is ours now. The question is, can they get the channel all the way to the 100% mark before Saltscale comes in? And with level 10s coming up, this is actually a really great place for Tiny Dancers. They're going to have level 10s, which they do now, and the Protector. Blaze is heading down into the bot lane to deal with the Chen. ETC is going to get that power slide onto Li Ming, along with the telekinesis here, and Li Ming's going to go ahead and get into that Protector. She needs the safe body. Let's check in on Chen and Blaze here. So nothing too exciting down here, other than once again the rotation down. The Protector up in the top lane is very aggressive, considering it has absolutely no support. So, you know, the Tiny Dancers team doesn't have minions here, so they can't even really push in on the bot lane, which, you know, if you're going to do this, is what I would hope to see. But this Protector up in the top does get the full fort wall. I'm sorry, just the wall in the tower. Still one tower up. Minions are here now, so they're setting up for later. Getting the first tower, just about to have the second tower, and level 10s are now here for both teams. So, gotta be careful coming out of this Protector. A Nubrak is probably okay, but Li Ming, if she's too far forward there, could find herself on the wrong side of the graveyard here. Nice silence onto the Vala. Gonna get the knockback from ETC, but he goes into the Cocoon. The Arcane Orb missing. Does land this time onto the Alarak, though. And Divine Reckoning coming out from Whitemane, trying to keep up that ETC. Big mosh pit onto 2, but the Rain of Vengeance coming in to interrupt that. Big root, though. Check it out. 3 heroes getting rooted. We've got the Vala falling, the Anduin falling. And all of that coming out from Storm, Earth, and Fire here from Chen. Big plays coming out from Idioms there. And with the double kill, Saltscale making their way onto this fortification camp. And they're doing it as a 5-man. If you're going to invade a camp, do it as 5, right? Looks like we're going to catch another kill onto the Anubrak as well. And that's going to give Saltscale now the opportunity to come in and get their own bionic emitter. But so far, the structure value is in favor of Tiny Dancers. They've gotten 3 out of 6... Sorry, 3 out of 6 turrets down. Chen, however, getting stunned by the Blaze. Gonna see a Rain of Vengeance. Gonna get rooted. Popping the stagger, hops over the Blaze. And he's gonna make it out just fine. And because of that rotation, Saltscale making their way onto the top fort here. Getting the full wall down. Working on the well. And we're seeing the... I guess the opposite, the same thing, coming out from Tiny Dancers. Using the bunker now to soak up some of the shots from the fort. And I think both of these teams are ultimately going to be able to take out the forts. And it's hard to say which team that's better for. Level 13s are available here for Saltscale, so they're slightly ahead in XP now, thanks to those kills earlier. Tiny Dancers, however, getting the camp invade, so now both teams have 1 turret, I believe, right? Does Chen have the turret? He does. But ETC is going to get that slide. I believe that telekinesis came in there first, and Anubrak's going to fall. And Anubrak is kind of like ETC in that if you catch him and can lock him down, he doesn't quite have the same level of sustain or armor, just defenses, that some of the other tanks have. Obviously, anybody, if you lock them down, they're going to take a lot of extra damage, but they don't. They have bonuses like Anubrak's spell armor shield that help to offset their lower health pool. So a quick silence and then a stun coming from the ETC is enough to make sure that Anubrak finds his way back to the graveyard. Siege camp picked up for Tiny Dancers. It's about to be picked up here for Saltscale as well, but they're holding on to it. They recognize this timer. Want to wait until that's just about done, and then they can head up. Chen, meanwhile, in the bot lane, has a pretty significant wave getting set up here. That's 7 ranged minions, along with the 3 melee minions there to soak up some of those shots. So they're going to get a pretty fair amount of value in the bot lane. It looks like Chen holding on down here was potentially looking for a flank, but getting sniffed out. 24% so far for Tiny Dancers. And level 16's not too far off. There's the silence. Chen coming in. There's a light bomb coming out. Divine Reckoning going out onto the Blaze and the Anubrak, but Anubrak burrows the wrong direction, I think, and ends up paying for it here. Idiom's diving in onto Vala, the Leap of Faith coming in. Blaze having to use jet propulsion out, but the Mosh Pit is going to help to secure the kill onto Anduin, maybe? Yes, indeed. Might even be able to get Blaze here. One more hit, even a... Yep, there it is. That lightning surge coming out from Alarak, helping to complete that kill. A lot of kills have been set up by this Alarak with the telekinesis, by the ETC follow-up, but it generally has been the Alarak combo into the ETC into dead hero. And then obviously, you know, everybody else piling in, whether it's Chen jumping in, whether it's the Hanzo with his target practice upgraded shots. Let's take a look at those talents, by the way. So Hanzo sitting at 3. Let's check what he's missing. Who is he missing here? So he's missing 2 shots on Vala, 1 shot on Anduin. Makes sense. Those are the 2 harder to hit heroes. Actually, I would have thought Li Ming would have been on that list. But 95% here for Saltscale Mrgles, so they're going to get the Protector. Not quite able to gather the turret here is Tiny Dancer, so they're going to Hearth back now. And I think... I don't know. It just occurred to me, given their positioning and how massive of a wave they have here, I think that if Tiny Dancers had waited a moment there just to see where the Protector was going, they might have been able to push that keep and really caused a lot of pressure for Saltscale here. But the Protector's coming into the bot lane. It's going to clear up the minion wave here. So just checking in, how much is that? So half of the tower, half of the wall. Would have been, I think that would have been the right play. But we'll see. There goes the Cocoon onto ETC here. The Protector Glove onto the Anubrak. We're going to get that Light Bomb out onto Anduin, and Mosh Pit just barely going to hit the Anduin. All this damage, even with the ETC going into the Cocoon, they're just not able to get the targets that they need to. The damage coming out from the Protector, from Hanzo, just locking them down. And I think maybe they need to consider that, you know, this is a couple of times now they put ETC in the Cocoon. Maybe ETC's not the target. Right? ETC, you can stun lock him. You've got a Nubrak, you've got Blaze. You can root him. You can Wave of Force him. Like, there are a lot of ways to interrupt a Mosh, so Mosh shouldn't be of concern. Maybe, you know, put in the Alarak, because he's the one setting up these plays. And let's see if it shows how much sadism. It doesn't show us sadism. Let's take a look at the sadism here. 150% sadism. I think that that's your target here with that Cocoon. Up in the top lane, trying to clear up the pressure that's been mounting against them, Tiny Dancers, as Saltscale picks up their fortification camp below. And yeah, so seeing the result of that Protector, even more so, I think that the right call was to just push that keep. They were already there. You know, they ended up losing fort and keep in the bottom lane. And they have pretty good siege potential with the Vala and Li Ming and Anubrak Beetles. Yeah, I think that was the right call. Both teams here working around in this upper half of the map, looking for the camps, possibly getting the support camp, maybe looking for Chen. But really, it's Tiny Dancers that needs to find a play here. They're down 3 levels. And here it comes with the flank. ETC's going to power slide in. They do get the big dragon arrow there. Counter-Strike not able to land. However, the Anduin using that light bomb to stun out the Chen. There's the Mosh Pit, interrupted almost immediately here, but Idiom's going deep into the backline, gets the Anduin, looking for the Li Ming, but pulls back. The root coming out from Alankia onto Blaze is going to all but secure that kill. So a triple kill for Saltscale Mrgles. Now they will steal away this support camp. And somebody's got to pick it up. And they're rotating down here. They do have... They're going to stop for the fort. Death timers are not nearly as long for Tiny Dancers as they are for Saltscale Mrgles, right? They're about 25-30 seconds roughly, probably about 30 seconds. So going through the fort all the way to the bottom and then trying to get onto core is not necessarily the best plan for them. So they start by taking out this fort in the mid. They really need to win another team fight where they're a little bit closer and don't have as much to go through to be able to take this core. All right, control point C is now coming up. Saltscale level 20, by the way, as Tiny Dancers still trying to work their way up to that level 20. Telekinesis coming out. We see that power slide here. The Dragon Arrow missing. Was looking for that blaze for sure, but the bunker keeping him alive. Does ends up hitting the Vala, but she was fine. She was behind her wall. Nice and healthy. But this is a problem. Getting some catapults in the bot lane. And Nubrak's having to clean this up. Still a long way from level 20s. And Saltscale can pretty much just run the map. They can do whatever they want here. There's nothing at this point that Tiny Dancers can really do. But they're going to try. There goes the stuns. Divine Reckoning coming out. We've got Light Bomb as well, but Nubrak putting the cocoon onto Alarak. At least it was a good plan there. But Blaze going to fall there, and that's a double kill onto the front line here in favor of Saltscale Mrgles. But you know, it looks like they're hesitant to even consider going in after the core without having this protector. And to be fair, they haven't had a lot of threats. I mean, 17 kills to 2. You can't see that on the screen, but let me go ahead and just drop that, and I can show you here. So 17 kills to 2. The structures are largely in favor of Saltscale Mrgles, but there's always that chance that Li Ming pops off, starts getting resets, and everybody just dies. And then all of a sudden, you've got 60-second res timers, and Blaze and Anubrak are coming up, leading to the end of the game. So going into Avala and Li Ming might be a little bit dangerous for them, so they elect to just focus on getting the protector. Meanwhile, Tiny Dancers still working on trying to get level 20. They send out that siege camp in the top lane, so that eventually does do value for them. It's going to get them the rest of that tower, which will give them some XP. They do have some kind of gated XP right here in the middle too, with those 2 towers. Not enough to get them to 20 by any means, but it's XP they could pick up. But here comes Saltscale, level 20, making their way to the core. They've got Hanzo, they've got Whitemane in the protector. And they've got Alarak ready to make a play here, looking for it. I think he missed the telekinesis, but didn't matter. ETC going into the cocoon. We see the Light Bomb looking for the Chen. Gets the big stun. There's the root. The Stormwrath and Fire got interrupted by Rain of Vengeance. So Idiom's just trying to drink his way, but he doesn't succeed. Bunker going out. And that might be it. Vala's very far forward, though, here. Like, I'm surprised. I was just going to say, I don't understand why ETC doesn't just turn and power slide it. Who are we missing? Where is 1, 2, 3? Where's... There he is. Clearly, I just had a blind spot wherever Alarak was. He must have been hidden in Hearthing somewhere. So this protector won't get a whole lot of value unless they can manage to find some kills. The level 20 advantage is still there. We're going to see Alarak getting caught by the stun, but just a massive counterstrike, bringing 3 heroes to half health. ETC gets the stun just barely, and that's going to be the kill onto a Nubrak. Pyromania used by Blaze, and his level 1 for that unstoppable. Oh man, the telekinesis with that teleport here, almost getting a double kill out of the laser as well. The ETC power slide just barely catching Anduin, and he is also going to fall. So does Saltscale, they're gonna go for it this time. So they didn't go for it earlier when it was Anduin. Now there's Blaze, so I feel like this is even more dangerous, especially with them having level 20s. But they're gonna go for it. They're going to get the root stun power slide combination out onto Blaze. He does have the upgraded bunker, so has 50 armor, but it didn't matter. He didn't have much health. Vola gonna get caught there by the Alarak. But Whitemane does fall in there. Took a little bit of damage there. And Li Ming's trying to defend this. And really, nobody has any health, but it's not going to matter when the ETC power slide... I'm sorry, the ETC's mosh pit coming in, going to lock down Li Ming, and that's going to be game number 1. Going over in favor of Saltscale Mrgles. Alright, let's take a look at our talents and our statistics here. 22 kills to 4 in favor of Saltscale Mrgles, and it was a pretty rough game there for Tiny Dancers. I mean, they really had a solid combo in that Alarak ETC. You know, Chen harassed the backline pretty effectively through multiple engagements, so not a real big surprise seeing those numbers as they are. And let's see statistics. There you go. Some people want to see that stuff. All right then. Currently up 1-0 is Saltscale Mrgles. Our next game is going to be on Infernal Shrines. It was the map pick of Saltscale. All right, so taking a look at those standings here while we get the game back set up here. We've got number 4 and number 5, Saltscale Mrgles and Tiny Dancers there. But let's take a look at our brackets. So currently up now 1-0 is Saltscale over Tiny Dancers. We just saw that match. And whichever team wins this game will be playing against Bread Rising, as they defeated Phoenix Rising Ruby. Ektar, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. We got time. Our game's 9 o'clock. I'm all ready to go. We're set. Map-wise, as mentioned earlier here, we've got the bans going on to Towers of Doom and Dragonshire from Saltscale Mrgles. And then Tiny Dancers banned out the Braxis Holdout and Tomb of the Spider Game. The Spider Game? Tomb of the Spider Queen. I mean, I suppose it was Spider Game too. All right, let's just take a quick second to get our teams entered in here. Oh, I didn't hit the update button. I had it all typed out, just didn't do the update. So there you go, it's updated now. Thanks for letting me know, Ektar. right, just getting set up here. The game, because this is a older replay, there are a couple of things I have to go in. I have to change the volume. I have to fix the scrolling, and as you can tell, you might be able to hear the background music now. But when I leave, it goes away. So I got to fix a couple of those things. And I also got to turn off the observer panel so you guys can't see the time of the game. We wouldn't want to give away how long it's going to be. All right, so set that to there. Do me a favor, if you happen to notice that the sound is a little bit too high once we get into this game here, let me know, and I'll make adjustments. All right, all set up and ready to go. Let's get our teams introduced. All right, currently up 1-0. It's Saltscale Mrgles. I'm on the wrong page. Let's go to this one. There we go. Saltscale Mrgles on the left. It's going to be Idioms on the Blaze, Eason G on Rainer, Dankstrom on ETC Alankia on Whitemane, and Synchrony on the Sylvanas. Over here for Tiny Dancers, we've got Silver playing the Muradin, Feldroth on the Zul'jin, Liddell on the Oriole, Elijah playing the Leoric, and Materium on the Kael'thas. So once again, because this is an older replay, you can see at the top of your screen here the talents that are selected. It's going to be a little bit difficult to see them. They're small even for me, and you guys are watching on a stream. So if there's, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll certainly, let you know what talents are up, but we'll go over those again at the end. The game is kind of quiet. I'll turn it up a little bit. Try doing this one. I turned it up a little bit. Let me know if that's a little bit better. I usually don't have the game sound too loud just because of the fact that it oftentimes has a little bit of a feedback reverb thing going on. So up in the top lane, we've got Leoric versus Blaze. Now last time I missed first blood because of the fact that I wasn't paying attention to the solo laners, and we ended up having a rotation in that came from Tiny Dancers to get Chen in that case. But it doesn't look like any rotations happening just yet for that one, as the team's currently working on their rotations between bot and mid. Sylvanas gonna take a quick pause on her way at the camp to get that started. Tiny Dancers working on the bottom camp now, so they'll have a little bit of pressure in the bot lane, and then probably will head up into their own siege camp shortly thereafter. Both teams approaching level 3 now at the 1.5 minute mark, so about a minute away from the announcement for the Punisher. It is going to be up in the top lane and an Arcane Shrine. So probably one of the weaker Punishers at this point in the game. Muradin diving in, looking for the Sylvanas, so that was something like what they had going on in game number 1, but couldn't quite convert that kill. In the bot lane, Saltscale Mrgles picking up the clear on that camp, but Tiny Dancers hasn't gone to their camp yet. And electing to go ahead and bypass that for now. So presumably, maybe they're going to hold off on that until they get the announcement from the Punisher up there in the top lane. Never mind, they're going to do it right now. They just wanted to get that bot lane XP, and that will give them that camp there in the mid lane now. Meanwhile, rotating down into the bot, we have Blaze and Leoric both working on picking up as much soak between the two lanes as possible now. Leoric, having the Neo Peasants here, is going to be able to do a lot more damage to the minion waves than Blaze. And Blaze going a little bit more into a kind of a tankier build. Having that Unstoppable at level 1, having Meltdown to reduce the damage of the Tiny Dancers heroes. And the shrine is now available. I believe Neo Peasants works on that, yeah? It does, yeah, monsters as well. So Leoric can clear this pretty quickly. But you know what? With Sylvanas and Rainer, they don't even care. They're gonna head down into the bot lane, shut this tower down, and see how much they can get out of it. And it doesn't look like Tiny Dancers is going to answer that at all. So they're just gonna focus on getting the Punisher. And this is probably the best Punisher for this, because it's not the Frozen, it doesn't shut down the tower. It's not Mortar, so it doesn't get the big burst. It does have that constant laser damage. But right now, Saltscale Mrgles is going to take down the bottom fort. And, I mean, there's no reason they don't keep going, right? I mean, what's the time on Black Arrows? Currently, it's just coming up, so they'll take a couple of shots, but they'll be able to get this shut down. And they're going to go all the way on to keep wall in the time that it took Tiny Dancers to get the Punisher. And I don't know how much value they get out of this. I mean, they get the Punisher and they've got that Shaman Camp, but pulling the Punisher over the wall to begin with, I mean, you see, it's done absolutely no damage. And it's already at half health. So this is an absolutely just stellar play from Saltscale. They're going to lose a little bit of structure, but not all that much. And they're going to finish this rotation up with Sylvanas and Whitemane. And you know what? Leoric's in a little bit of danger here. Could fall to this Sylvanas. And there you go. So really fantastic for Saltscale. They get a full fort. They get keep wall, or at least both of the towers. They get a kill out of it. And all they lost was a wall and a couple of towers. So high value play from them. Checking in on, we can't see these base talent traits, so let's take a look here. So is that right? That can't be right. Literally 0 on Zul'Jin's stacking quest at level 8. There just hasn't been a lot of opportunity for team fights. That's amazing. That even more is so impressive for what Saltscale just did, because they basically said, we're not going to fight you. We have no reason to fight you. You've got Kael'thas in a confined area. You've got Zul'Jin who wants to stack. We just don't want to be there. And not only does it work for them to keep from dealing with all those things, but it also means that they can get that fort and keep wall. So we'll see how that plays out in this game. Tiny Dancer's behind by about a half a level. We're going to see the power slide on Mrgles. He's likely okay. Maybe. There's the jet propulsion. They've got a stun. There's the dwarf toss. So the heal coming out. He is going to be okay. But so Tiny Dancers was able to pick up that camp. As far as ultimates, so we're going to see Stage Dive this time, along with Divine Reckoning, the Wailing Arrow, Combustion, and Hyperion. So a lot more push pressure here. Also, for the other side, here goes the Guillotine. Gets ETC about half, thanks to that armor. Mrgles jumping in, pop an Avatar, and doing nothing. And is going to pay for it? Is going to pay for it. But so is Sylvanas. She ends up going in for that kill onto Mrgles, who's coming back, by the way, thanks to that Resurrect. This is pre-patched, so this is the original version. Not the original, I guess the first time it was patched Resurrect. We also have the Pyroblast. Obviously, we saw the Avatar. The Entomb is there, so that's all of our ultimates here. We see a lot of pings coming in. Gravity Lapse onto ETC is going to power slide right on away. Penetrating round from Easton, going to push back Tiny Dancers. But they do have a pretty significant wave here. Zul'Jin and Kael'thas able to get some pretty decent structure damage here. Let's check in on Zul'Jin. How's he doing now? Okay, we're up to 7. Can you check Zul'Jin just to make sure the replay is tracking stacks correctly? Yeah, I was really... I had that thought as well, Actor. I was like, maybe there's something that's just not showing right. But, nope. Speaking of stacks, how's Mrgles doing? Mrgles has 5 stacks of Stormbolt. Are there any other base trait quests here? No, it doesn't look like it. On to the second shrine here, the Zoning Stormbolt. Almost hitting the Blaze, but not quite. And Entomb's going to go out onto Raynor. There's the Pyroblast along with the Guillotine. However, it's Elijah who's just getting deleted here. Feldroth getting the Stage Dive coming in. He's going to be the one to fall, but there's the Oriel Res. And that's how you deal with Res. And it's going to be a little bit easier to do that now with the updated version of Res, right? 5 seconds on the timer. So you get enough pressure, and then you just get a couple of lockdown stuns between Blaze and ETC. And guess what? There's no hero there anymore. And with that kill, we've got Saltscale and Mrgles onto the Shaman camp. Going to be able to push that up. Wouldn't have been surprised to see Sylvanas just pop in there with black arrows, and if she had it. She doesn't, so never mind. Because these ultimately do get cleared out pretty quickly when the top fort is still up, or the fort rather. It goes into the lane behind the fort and just ultimately suicides eventually. Frozen Punisher. So this fort is all but guaranteed with no wall to defend. And there's the jump out onto Muradin, and again he's gonna get, oh, he's just barely able to get out of there. I can only imagine how much Silver was just spamming that E button to get that dwarf toss, because that root was coming in and that would have been a dead Muradin with the additional power slide. There's the jump coming out. Divine Reckoning is going to land onto 2, but it's just gonna bring Feldroth to about half health here. And Blaze almost catching on, but not quite. Does pop the combustion, but does not get anybody in it thanks to that Detainment Strike. But Punisher, John Cena coming in, gets a double stun. They're looking for the Muradin here. Muradin's going to dwarf toss out. But that's the first keep of the game going over to Saltscale in just under 10 minutes. We did get the top fort going down here for Tiny Dancer, so they do have a path to victory if they can ultimately find the right team fight, get the right kills in the right place. At this point, 5 kills to 1. I'll go ahead and drop the scene so you guys can check this out again. As the siege camp's being picked up by Saltscale, making good use of their macro heroes. And now Tiny Dancers is basically playing a game of catch-up. They've got to clean up these lanes, and they're about a level and a half behind, at least partially because of the kills here, 5 to 1. I mean, that's not a full level and a half, but it certainly is a contributing factor. When you have the kills, when you have the Punishers, makes it difficult to get the lane XP, all that good stuff. Let's check on vision. So they don't see where any of the heroes are, so they're coming up right behind this wall. Is level 16 now available for Saltscale and Mrgles. The root going out onto Sylvanas. She is going to get hit by the guillotine, but has that hunting wave to get out. ETC in the bot lane working on that continued pressure thanks to their early shenanigans. Has the stage dive, so it can come in at any point. But once again, we're going to see top lane Punisher. Now this is good for Tiny Dancers. Ultimately, if they're able to pick up this Punisher, going into that top keep would give them a win condition. They're kind of close at that point anyways, but getting that protector, if they get the right kills, could lead to the game. Jet propulsion in onto Feldroth is going to have the combustion coming out there. Idiom's getting a couple of them in it, but the stage dive is the true monster here, hitting a couple, and Zul'jin somehow still alive, ultimately dies to the phase melt. Liddell very low, but does have a full health bar, or heal bar, holy bar. But they lost the Muradin up above with all the pressure as well. So a double kill for Saltscale, putting them now at 7 kills to 1. And, you know, if you're Tiny Dancers, this is looking very difficult. Just checking in on Zul'jin there, sitting at 18 stacks, has not been able to get the auto attacks in where needed. The root onto the Leoric along with that power slide, and again, it doesn't matter if you have an unstoppable if you can never cast it because of the CC chain. And this is going to be top fort and keep down again. So both the last 2 lanes have been taken down, fort and keep together. This time now without the Punisher though. And Saltscale looks like they might Okay, I was gonna say it looks like they might hang out, but they're gonna go ahead and pull back. And I think that's the right call. 16 is up, so it would have been an even fight there. Leoric coming back on the map, so it's 5v5 now. And you've got all the pressure in the lanes that you could possibly want. 2 keeps down, so catapult's going out there. What? Div east, whoops. Alright, I fixed it. Good catch. I don't know, how did I get E? Whatever. Alright, Tiny Dancer's coming in. This is it. Like, this is basically their fight. Because if the Punisher goes over to Saltscale, I think that this ends up being game. The way that the game's been going, it's been very difficult for Tiny Dancers. So they need to find some kills here so that they can get this Punisher. Saltscale pulling back, only their tanks here left on the point. The root going out on Trainer, he gets the unstoppable. Big combustion though, onto 4, make it 5. And the stage dive slowing him down. Oriole is going to resurrect, but it's not gonna matter. 3-4 kills, make it 5 and 6. And Saltscale Mrgles now on their way to the core, and nothing is going to stop them from taking this game and sending themselves off to the Division B East semifinals. Let's see, can I zoom in on this? I want to zoom in. Zoom in. There we go. This core is going down. All right, Saltscale Mrgles 14 kills to 1. Checking out the statistics and the talents here. Great play from Saltscale. They looked well coordinated. They had a game plan. They executed it well. And they drafted well and positioned well and played the game well into the comp that Tiny Dancers had. They did not give them the opportunity to get that late game build-up from Zul'jin, or, you know, find themselves into choke point team fights with that Kael'thas. So good play by them to make that happen. Statistics here once again, so 1 kill onto Synchrony, which I think was mostly tower damage actually, because that was the one where they dove in after Muradin. Kael'thas is credited with the kill, but I think that it was because Synchrony was just too close to that wall, took a bunch of damage, and that was just how that story wrote. All right, well, you know what? Let's take a look at some of the details. Let's look at these brackets again. So now we see that Saltscale Mrgles will be facing off against Red Rising Yeast Sports. So the number 8 seed versus the number 4 seed this coming week. I think I'm casting that game actually. Let's see. Do I have the ticker on here? Let's see if it pops up. Well, that's tonight. Let's actually take a look at the calendar, because I think that I picked that up. And if I didn't, then silly me. I did. That is the 1:30 in the afternoon game on Sunday. So if you're East Coast. Also have a D West game that... No, I don't. I have an A game. Goodbye Forever versus Team Happy Cloud at 9 p.m. on Sunday. And You Are Not Alone versus Devil Kegs from B West at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And then tomorrow night, on Friday, Valentine's Day, I picked up the old Would Tap That versus Better Than Bots. Because you know what? Who wouldn't want to cast Would Tap That on Valentine's Day, right? Right? I mean, come on. And yes, as Ektar pointed out, if you're here watching this game, you're going to want to see what's going on at 9 o'clock tonight Eastern Time at twitch.tv/Ektar, where Regen Phoenix is going to be playing against Party Time, the number 2 versus number 3 seeds. And whichever team wins that goes on to the Coastal Finals. Could be facing off against Saltscale. Who knows? We'll have to tune in and see. Thanks everybody for joining me tonight for this replay cast of Saltscale Mrgles versus Tiny Dancers. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you stopping by, Have a wonderful evening. And I don't blame idioms there saying let's go party time, because you know what? If I was Saltscale, I wouldn't want to relive the beating that we gave them. Right? All right, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon.